One of the Switch things I was most excited for this holiday season was not actually a game, it was the Xenoblade Chronicles 2 Nintendo Switch Pro Controller. This thing looked so good when we saw it in the Direct, and ever since I've been trying to get a pre-order, luckily I was able to, and so here's my in-depth review. Well, I say in-depth, but it's just a normal Pro Controller.
He's just a platypus. They don't do much, you know.
Well, it actually does a lot, but that's already been covered. I'm just gonna talk about the aesthetics of the controller and how well it looks, which is amazing. I'll also throw up a couple comparisons with things like the Wii U Pro Controller and all that stuff later. But first, let's unbox this thing. So as you can see, the packaging is actually awesome. You can see a great sideways tilted angle of the controller with a Xenoblade Chronicles 2 background that matches the design on the controller with these amazing flame spark effects. Now, I don't actually know anything about Xenoblade Chronicles 2, so I know that that's like the sword thing or something or other. I think that's what the design is. I don't know, but this design box and controller overall looks amazing. As you can see on the side, we've got close-ups of the controller as they do with all of their Pro Controllers. We've got logos and instructions right here, just what the Pro Controller is and how to charge that, but I'm not going into that here because, you know, you can find that literally anywhere online. So here we're unboxing it. As you can see, I'm using my Nintendo Switch pen to just get all the little tape things off because, you know, you need to get those off to unbox it. And when you pull it out, the first thing that you will probably grab is the charging cable, which as you can see is USB 3.0 to USB-C. These are important for charging your controller, but they also work with charging your Switch. They work with charging my 2016 MacBook. These cables are really useful if you're like me and have a lot of USB-C products. So I'm always grateful that they throw in one of these with every controller I buy. Then you take out the controller. It's wrapped in styrofoam as to not, like, you know, break the product in the packaging. There's nothing else in the box, as you can see. Unwrapping the styrofoam, it just looks amazing. Now, one of my least favorite design choices about this controller is the pink back, as you can see right there, but we'll get into that in a second. Let's just pull it out. Dang, yeah, this thing is a stunner. Look at that. It's just amazing. It flows so well, and I'll get into all the little things, but first off, I know I wasn't going to say how it feels, but it feels just like a normal Pro Controller. As you can see, this was my first time unboxing it. I was just seeing how it felt. It feels perfectly normal. Here is the back. The back is meh. I would have preferred the middle part of the back, not the handles, to be black and match the front, but I mean, I don't really care. I just feel like it looks kind of more like a toy this way, because it's like an all red plastic back. Then, as you can see, there is the blue turquoise cross, which I didn't think turquoise and a kind of pinkish red would flow well together, but they are amazing. Then, as you can see, it's kind of hard to notice on the camera, but there is this black design which is really noticeable as you see it. It cuts through the right analog stick and the face buttons. It's really nice. The handles are obviously pink, and everything else on the controller is black. It also has that semi-transparent look that is reminiscent to the charging Joy-Con grip and any other Pro Controllers, where you can basically see inside the thing, but obviously you can't see like the wires and the tech inside of it. Something really interesting about this is, once again, this is a big controller, okay? I don't know if I'm just used to playing with the Joy-Con grip, because that's pretty much all I've been using for the past couple of months now, but this thing is a beefy controller. Now, it's actually no bigger than the Wii U Pro Controller. As you can see, it's a bit beefier in the middle, but I mean, yeah, they're relatively reminiscent in size. It's just the Switch Pro Controller has more defined handles, as the Wii U is kind of just like one big slope. But something awesome, as you can see right here, is the controller is not a shiny controller. Now you might be like, why is that a good thing? Well, as you can see, it has this semi-matte finish, which makes it look really clean, but also it won't attract fingerprints. Look at all the fingerprints on my Wii U Pro Controller. You can see my hand. I mean, controllers are meant to be touched, right? So look at all those fingerprints. I mean, you can't really fault the controller for that, as you're meant to hold the controller, but you can fault it for having a design that lets those fingerprints be easily noticed. As you can see, I tried to fingerprint this thing as much as I can. it just won't because it's not that type of controller. Anyway, one more size comparison for you guys. Right up there, it's against the Switch. You can see, I don't know if the Switch is small, the controller's big, or if it's a combination of both, which it most definitely is. But look at that, wow. Okay, a couple of things I just want to note before we end this off. As you can see, the letters on the face button are that same teal color as the stripe, but did you notice that the arrows on the D-pad are the same turquoise as well? It's a bit harder to notice as the D-pad is right underneath the stripe as opposed to across it, but it still looks really clean, and I'd much rather them be this color than white. In fact, there's no white anywhere on this controller. Anywhere where there would be a normal white writing on a normal Pro controller, it's been replaced with this teal, which really helps this controller feel better. One final little nitpick, as you can see, or maybe you can't see, the home button on my controller is actually kind of rotated. Now, I don't care about this, but I'm just putting it out there. I mean, it doesn't matter at all, like, that will never impact my game at all. It's just, as you could saw, I opened it up and this was immediately there. Once again, I don't care, I'm not sending this controller back. I bet you guys might not even be able to see it, but in real life, it's definitely noticeable, and I just wanted to point that out. But overall, this controller is amazing. One of the best controllers I've used in a while. It's really hefty, and I didn't think I would need to use this, especially because I actually like the Joy-Con grip a ton, and even when I don't want to use the Joy-Con grip for a game, I just use separated Joy-Cons and I'm fine. But I can see why everyone likes this so much. Now, I haven't used this in many games yet, but I'm really excited to feel the HD rumble in this thing, as well as use many of the other features such as an NFC reader for amiibos, and all that other fun stuff. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching this in-depth review on the controller. If you're curious how it feels a lot more, I mean, there's more controller reviews just for Pro controllers. I was mainly focused on the aesthetics, but yeah, this controller is amazing. Buy it if you're trying to get a Pro controller. Buy this one. Thank you guys for watching. I'm Thomas from the Switch Stop, signing off.